Okay, hello and welcome to the Champ We Are United podcast, the number one football comic podcast. From Billy Dane to Bobby Booth, Dexter's Devon to Devil's Palace, John Stark to Joe Pearson, Hedgehog Jones to Hotshot Hamish, from Andy Steele to Andy Steele, we cover them all and more. I am your host, Matt Mute Button Richards. So welcome to episode 103.
Yay!
Hey, that intro was tangent worthy. That was.
Well, I do my best. Thank you very much, Gar.
He wrote it. Come on, man.
Probably there with his hand up, up his jumper, and I don't even know what I just said. Move on.
It's a puppet.
It's a puppet.
Thanks for the support, team. So who is in the pod team tonight? You've heard from, I think, probably all of them already. So we're playing a tight 2-2-1 formation tonight. So at the back, next to me, we have, he's been on the phone to BT regarding his Wi-Fi connection for the last 2 weeks. I've got 2 bars. It's Simo.
You're absolutely right. I have got 2 bars as well. Good evening, Matt. Good evening, everybody.
Brilliant.
Hope it's going to be a great one tonight. We've got something special coming up.
We certainly do. Yeah. So, welcome, mate.
Look forward to that.
Good to have you here. Moving into midfield, we have, backed by popular demand. Well, when I say popular, maybe average demand, it's the method actor in the team. He's our Daniel Day-Lewis, our Dustin Hoffman, our Bobby De Niro. Are you talking to me? Well, tonight he's talking to us. As long as he's playing a Cockney octogenarian or a Sicilian gangster, it's Neil Bygone Brinsden Grandad Parle Surtee Berrigan.
Hello, everybody. Hello. That's my normal voice.
Thanks for telling us that. We weren't sure for a moment.
Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm really looking forward to tonight's performance.
It's Larry Olivier. Brilliant. Welcome, Neil. And alongside Bygone in midfield, we move to our man who is our Everton supporting, Oasis devotee, fan fiction, chat GPT maestro. Oh, yes. It's less A, it's more AI. Apologies, sorry, mate. It's Luscious Locks Ridders.
Oh, brilliant. Evening all. Good to be back, another one. These intros are fantastic. Also, could have gone from Andy Steele to Iron Bar. That would have been quite a sweet.
Oh, very good.
Very good.
Excellent.
Good.
Edit that, Matt.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I'll put that in later.
Yeah.
And it'll be amazing.
That out.
Andy won't notice.
I must just say, when Ritter said evening all, it's spot on, really, because Button Matt Richards' intro there was bloody criminal.
Gosh. And then up front, of course, finally, he wasn't here last time, but bloody hell, we know he's back already. He's the founder of the pod. He is our pod father. He is the man,
I like that.
the myth, the legend, the man who needs no introduction at all. So that's the team. Anyway, so oh yeah, sorry, it's Gull. I will introduce him. It's Gull. Hello, Gull.
Good evening.
Okay, bit creepy. So that's the team tonight. So, but before we crack on, there isn't apologies tonight. You'll notice there's somebody missing. It's apologies from the tangential one, he's away on a 5-day residential retreat in a remote corner of Nepal with some of his tangential followers. Dressed in sheepskin coats, they sit in circles, meditating for 10 hours a day, and then log on to eBay to bid on the early editions of Tiger. So the tangential one isn't here, but I'm sure he'll be back very soon. So that's the team.
He's probably with the Dalai laughter.
Yeah, I'd have had £5 on that if I was a betting man.
Right, what do we have in this week's show? Right, okay, so let's get on to the serious stuff. So actually, we have a very special treat tonight, especially for the We Are United fans, because we are joined by a special guest, show listener, friend of the show. Welcome to Mr. Ian Golden.
Thanks very much, Matt. Hi, yeah, thanks very much. And thanks for having me on. As you say, medium-term fan of the show. I won't say long-term fan because that'll be insulting people who've gone from episode one. So I'll say medium-term fan of the show, and it's a pleasure to be on it. And yeah, I got some good stuff tonight. Hopefully, anyway.
Hang on, did you just say that you haven't listened from episode one?
Not from. Oh, I have heard episode one, but I didn't hear it when it first came out.
Oh, okay. So you haven't listened to them all, no?
Don't think I have. No, there's still a few I've got to catch up on.
You can piss off then. I'm just kidding. You know my sense of humour, my friend.
I do, sadly, yes. I've listened
What if you had one?
Sadly,
yeah.
Do you know what? I quit.
Brilliant, excellent.
And tonight's bingo numbers are.
As well, if needed.
So you are very, very welcome, Ian. And yeah, actually, what are you going to be doing for us tonight?
I am going to be presenting a We Are United timeline. Because there have been so many books out of We Are United over the years, between 1986 and 2002, and sometimes there are about 2, 3, or 4 in a year. And the history of it got really convoluted. So I'll do a bit more of a presentation when I get down to it, but
Sure.
That's basically what I'm going to be doing, talking We Are United from start to finish and seeing if it all fits in before Alex Jones and Terry Evans picked up their pensions.
That sounds amazing. We're really looking forward to that. So I'll hand over to you shortly. Aside from that, we're going to have the usual social media feedback, which I'll begin in a minute, and we're also probably going to touch on some future episodes, what stuff we might have lined up, and we've got some exciting news as well, potentially, which I'll leave Neil to talk about later on in the show.
Oh yeah,
You're having another week off.
Oh dear, brilliant stuff. Right, okay, so let's crack on. We'll move on to the social media feedback. So, see, this is episode 103. The last one was 102, and we finished off on, Who Shot Roy Race, if you remember. And Bygone, you did Billy Boots, didn't you, from the Tiger
Holiday Special.
Holiday Special, yeah. Okay, right. So let's have a look at the feedback. So first of all, this is from the Worth Rovers Facebook group, 40 Years On. Tim Hill said, I read once that it cost Roy the Rovers £25 and a pub lunch to get Sir Alf to agree to this. Different times. And remember, it was right. It was, I don't know if it's £25, but it definitely, incredible to get an ex-England manager into the story. Obviously, he took over from Roy for a short period of time whilst he's in the coma. So yeah, you're right, Tim. Jeff Tiley said, I think the revived Roy the Rovers was going to feature a young Roy playing for the England under-21, but the FA were approached, but then wanted a lot of money for the England badge and logos to be used, so his storyline wasn't developed. Different times. That's obviously for the actual reboot, which Rebellion did in 2018, and it's quite interesting because there were things that weren't allowed to mention. I don't know if you guys read it, but like the National Cup, they couldn't call it the FA Cup, could they? So it was
National Stadium as well. They weren't
National
even
Stadium.
Wembley.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks very much, Jeff. Phil Cole said, really enjoyed the pod. The Who Shot Roy section reminded me of the Comics Britannia BBC documentary where Barry Tomlinson accidentally named the shooter as Elton John. Has anybody seen that Comics Britannia documentary, BBC? It's on YouTube. Just look it up. It's Comics Britannia. I think it's about 3 or 4. I think it's 4 episodes for about an hour. And Barry's in one of them. And I think they carry Beano Dandy as well. And it's really, really recommended. Yeah.
So when was that filmed? Was that old or new?
Huh?
Go on, you go, Ridders.
No, I was going to say, are those Comics Britannia, is that like a new thing or?
No, I think it was like I think was it a BBC 4 documentary?
Oh, Sky Heart, something like that. It was.
I can interject there, and there were many variations since Britannia. It was a long running sort of like 4-part series.
Yes.
One of them being Synth Britannia, another being something else.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to say a big hello to Phil Cole, who I've known for nearly 25 years. So.
Oh wow, brilliant! Oh, excellent. Well, I mean, he comes up with some brilliant. Yes. Anyway, I recommend any listeners to check out Comics Britannia on YouTube. Cool. But Phil carries on with some excellent information. This kind of really made my week. He says, you mentioned the Scorcher 1977 holiday special. If that's the one with Andy Graham on the front, then the Billy's Boots artist was Ron Turner. And Tony Harding did the stories in 78 and 79. Now, Ron Turner, I've always wondered this because he did the Scorcher annual Billy's Boots stories as well. So it was around about the same sort of time. I've never known who the artist was. Ron Turner is a famous artist, more sci-fi related, I think, than football. So clearly he was just turning his hand to football for those couple of years for Scorcher and for the holiday specials and the annual. So thank you, Phil. So thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. That's excellent knowledge. George Prince, US friend of the show. George, have we got a theme tune for George? Go.
Well, if you want the usual one.
Well, yeah, or the new one.
Prince talking, his feedback is nothing to be scared of.
Oh, very, very good. Another great episode. I read Roy the Rover's comic last year. A great, comfortable listen. When I'm older and greyer, I'll watch the episodes on YouTube. I currently listen on YouTube. What platform does everybody else use? So he actually listens to it on YouTube. I mean, looking at the faces in front of me, I don't blame him for just.
Can't blame him. Yeah,
you really can't really. Yeah. It's a good shout. Good shout, George. Handy tip. Yeah, Kevin Critchlow, another friend of the show. Regularly comments. He says, "Okay, he thought it was Arnie Meckiff who shot Roy. He benefited the most from Roy's death. It was never going to be Trev. Vic will probably just kick him in training. Logan's dad would have probably sued him or hired an assassin. So, and he says, I guess Elton was his second choice. So, yeah, good shout. Adrian Lord,
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. What you want me to do? Another one? Oh God! Oh, you work me to the grindstone. You do. You really do. No, no. I'm going on strike for that one.
Okay, fine. Don't take it personally, Adrian.
Everybody in the house, Lord. Everybody in the house, Lord. One house, one Lord. Everybody in the house of love.
That is the best one. Adrian says, another thoroughly enjoyable podcast. I'm a bit shocked by the slurring of Penny Race and her daughter Diana. Everyone knows John Bland is the real dad. Unless Elton Blake disguised himself as Roy and seduced her. That would be a turn up for the books. Was Roy Race playing the Asteroids game while he recuperated? I'm enjoying the holiday specials too. I'm not a fan of Billy's Boots, sadly. Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Yeah, not everybody's a fan of different strips. It's funny, isn't it? Some you like and some you just can never kind of take to. And then finally, we have the Melfster himself.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. Right, I'm ready now. Ready? Oh, it's musings.
That's a new one. You caught yourself there. That was
Yeah.
King's Leon, and then you hit me with Pilot randomly out of nowhere. Oh God, I love Pilot as well. Yeah. Anyway, good. Thank you. Thanks for that. Cheers, Carl. Here we go. So Trevor Melvin, Ridders is back as Bygone Berrigan comes under suspicion. Elementary, my dear tangential one. In the absence of the talismanic goal, talismanic. Hello. Right. Tangent Paul was in the hot seat for episode 102, whilst the pod's very own mic'd up VOR official, Simo, was on hand to help with clear and obvious errors of the football comic kind. A tangential one, who was a great admirer of manager Victor Boscovich, immediately urged the Champ We Are United team to adopt an intense high tempo, not unlike Danefield United in their pomp. In a surprise return to the pod squad, it was Ridders who dutifully led the verbal counter-press. Ridders has provided some rousing retro reviews in the past, but this was perhaps his greatest and most inspirational team talk ever. The podcast pundit with the luscious locks, yep, that's you, my friend, who is known to be a School of Science devotee, very good, exclusively revealed how he has teamed up with ChatGPT to help him write his fan fiction opus, We Are Back, a United story. Hedgehog Jones, disco dancing wingman, really delivers with his We Are United homage and gives every true Riverton fan exactly what they crave. Ridder's spine-tingling account of everything that has happened down at the mill post the Joe Pearson reign can be found on the Wattpad app now. Great stuff. Thanks,
Lovely.
Trevor.
Wow.
Thanks, Malster. Great work again.
The second half saw Mute Button Matt summon all those suspected of shooting Roy Race to the Champ Towers library for a gripping denouement, which would conclude his Who Shot Roy Race feature. And for the record, the pod's very own Bygone Berrigan came under suspicion during the investigation, as he was considered to be either a prime suspect, Trevor Brinson's accomplice, or accessory after the fact. Bygone is rumoured to have strong underworld connections and even thought to be an associate of notorious Brummington gangster Charlie, aka Grandad, and mafia chief Harlow Certi. In true Sherlock Holmes style, though, the podcast's very own soccer sleuth, formerly known as the man with no nickname, used all his and Roy's powers of deduction to assist Chief Inspector Manning in making an arrest. At the end of the day, Mute Button Matt closed the case, full of green suits, and it was a fair cop. Having been found not guilty of any involvement in the attempted murder of Roy Race, the rest of the episode was plain sailing for Bygone Berrigan. Well, I'm not too sure if he's actually. We've still got our suspicions. We can still bring the case back. So just be careful. All right, watch it.
Well, I mean, for those watching on YouTube, they can see that there's a bright light shining on Bygone's head, and I think he's being interrogated as we speak.
Upon being released from custody, the podcast historian promptly weighed anchor, found his sea legs, and delivered a splashing Billy's Boots story from the 1985 Tiger Holiday Special. Stay safe and eat well, eat regularly and exercise. Say your prayers and take your vitamins. And remember, clunk click every trip, lads. Many thanks to the Great Escape and lifestyle advice. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff, the Melster. Absolutely superb. Inspirational.
Yeah.
You keep us going. Right, okay, moving on to the Champ We United and Football Picture Story Monthly Facebook page. We have feedback from somebody called Ian Golden. Ever heard of him, people? Don't know.
Nah,
is there a theme tune for Ian Golden? Go.
Wow. Yeah, actually. Do you want the new theme tune?
Do the new one. I've heard the old one all my life, so the first bit anyway.
I'm just going to turn around. Hang on.
Turn around.
Who is it? Oh.
Is it Bonnie Tyler? Turn around.
No, that's Bright Eyes. That's what's happening with Bygone's eyes on screen at the moment. Who is it? Oh, I'll just slap them in, shall I? Like, thanks, Dot. Okay, you won't believe who it is. I think he's been on before, but you won't believe who it is. It's only bloody Jarvis Cocker.
Oh God, no way.
Yeah, here we go. Ready?
Ready. Bad.
Let's say hello to Ian Golden. Won't it be great when he tells us what he knows?
That's going to be in my head all night now.
Oh God, yeah, brilliant. Thank you, thanks, Cole.
Let's go.
To the other one. But anyway, yeah, Ian said, Ian, I'm telling you now, this is a bit weird. It's a bit meta, actually, telling you exactly what feedback you gave us.
Just carry on.
It says, yay, listening in from the car. Comments to follow. Yeah, because you were listening on the. I think you listened to it on the school run, don't you? Sometimes.
Yeah.
So
when I'm parked outside the school in Oriel 15 minutes early, I'll just look at my phone. Oh, it's arrived. Right, banging that on.
Brilliant stuff. Excellent. So thanks for Ian. Ian Ridaway, another Ian, says, now I know who shot Roy Race.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Found out.
Ridaway. Baby, don't hurt me no more.
That was good. Go. I didn't mean to sound surprised. Sorry so much. I just meant that was quite good. It was in key and everything.
You're only saying what we were all thinking with us, but don't worry. Wesley Mendy, friend of the show. Hi, Wesley. He said, I still think it was a setup by the Basranian prince who Roy mugged off and showed up by donating the Rolls Royce he was gifted to charity. I reckon he silently backed the Melchester Rovers TV series, knowing that Blake was a loony, and got in his ear that Roy was out to embarrass him too. Shady Sod was probably related to the 86 coup and kidnapping too. Bastard. See what happens when you get me started. And then I think me and Wesley exchanged a few notes, and I think in the end we had Lofty Peak was under suspicion too. So it's a web. It definitely is a web. of intrigue and mystery. But it's got to be bygone, let's face it. Richard Woods, friend of the show, Eagle Rich, said, "Great listening, chaps. I stopped getting Roy the Rovers around the shooting time. Just started getting silly." Really? What's silly about a player manager being shot? I mean, that's just a normal occurrence, isn't it? Started reading again about a year later when my mate started reading it. But thanks a lot, Richard. And John Evans.
John Evans is a contributor to the podcast.
Well done. John says, "The pod that just keeps on giving, not only informative and entertaining, but now with lifestyle advice. I've taken this on board, and due to your influence, I'm now walking to the chip shop, cut it down to 5 times a day. Keep up the great work, chaps. It's very much appreciated." See, so we're adding value in many different ways. On Twitter X, Uncle Ernie, he said the whodunit was like a Melchester version of New Tricks. Thank you very much, Uncle Ernie. And on YouTube, Nikos said, "Yeah, this is just like JR." Thank you very much, Nikos. And I'm not quite sure if this is AEL Alfrico OFC Eddie. Anyway, this is on YouTube. Says, "What makes him feel old was knowing that Elton Blake would have got out over 20 years ago." So that's true, because he would have been out. So I went back and I said, "Very good point. I wonder what he'd be doing. Maybe he'd have his own YouTube." And he came back to saying he's going with, he would have been a David Icke style internet loon, Elton Blake. It's probably not a bad shout, really. So there you go. That's the feedback for this week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Yeah. Thanks for all those people that continue to give feedback every episode. We really do appreciate hearing your comments. It kind of carries us forward and drives us on. So thank you very much, and thank you to Goal for the theme tunes. That's the tough one, wasn't it, Goal? You did well.
Well, yeah, I thought I'd mix up, a bit of a remix version of some of them tonight. Yeah,
no, it's right. Keep people on their toes. It's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, right. So moving down the running order, we have the pièce de résistance.
The who? The what?
I don't know.
You tried French then. You tried French, Matt, didn't you?
I tried French, yeah. My CSE grade 2 just isn't cutting it, really.
Nah. Oh, dear.
So now I'm going to hand over. Ian Golden, you have the screen. Be free to share your screen. So listeners, if you want to have a look at this, you can have a look on YouTube when we put this out as well, so you can follow it. And Ian, I'll hand over to yourself.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you should see it all on screen. Oh, yes, we can. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
This is my presentation on how We Are United was dated, really. I'm going to go to the first page so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, the story. We Are United was created by Peter Clark in 1984 for the Champ comic, who based it on Manchester United during the Tommy Docherty era, when they were relegated. It ran in Champ until 1985, then Victor until 1987, and I've included the goals of Jimmy Grant in that, by the way. And I got Champ from the very first issue, from the shelf in Martin's in Cowbridge, which is now a Costa, by the way. But that's where I got it in the first place. And I got the first Picture Story Monthly, I believe, in somewhere like Lancaster or Carlisle, something like that, because it was on the way to Scotland with my parents, and I saw it in a local newsagent. So there you go. I got the first couple there on holiday in 1986. In 1986, it ran in Football Picture Story Monthly until 2002. It was actually originally edited by Fred Baker, so I think he did Hamish and Mouse, didn't he? In Roy the Rovers.
He did loads of stuff. Yeah.
And he did it. He certainly did it a few years into Football Picture Story Monthly. I have no idea how long, but you could tell with the continuity. First one was drawn by Peter Foster. He shared art duties with Mike White for a few months, and also later with Neville Wilson. So what I'm going to be doing is fitting all the seasons in. The problem is we have Football Picture Story Monthly. Sometimes 2 or 3 seasons were released in a calendar year. There's no consideration to people like us reviewing it over 20 years later in a podcast. So what I've tried to do is get some more to the stories, put all or most anyway into seasons, and end it, as I said before Terry Evans and Alex Jones start picking up a pension. Terry and Alex, my rule here, by the way, is Terry and Alex had to be younger than 50 when they finished playing. Billy Meredith got to 49 and he was still playing for Man United and Man City at that time. I can't remember. I think he ended with United and had City in between. Or it might have been the other way around. Right. So others capable of that too. Minor rewriting is allowed to help the story along, but I'm trying to restrict that to plot descriptions, not winning trophies. And there are fixed points in time, which is a Doctor Who term, which I know that some people here might love. But I'm restricting that to primarily that's around World Cup years. So that has to be stuck to. So, yeah, without further ado, I'll go to my first bit. So, the early years, 1960 to 1986, the story said started being published in 84, but in Champ, which you can see the first page on the second bit for those who are watching YouTube, and in other publications, the history. An attempt was made to document the past in that first issue, and also in other places throughout the years. I intend to primarily take what was published in that 1984 Champ as gospel, but there are some contradictions. There's a book called the Joe Pearson story, published only in Norwegian, which I have translated, and you can find on my website, which I'll post a link to that a bit later.
Yeah, definitely do that. Yeah.
When the things are up. I like it. Contradicts a few little things, but only little things. So it's worth a mention. The other two Football Picture Story Monthlies, or the two Football Picture Story Monthlies, which went into the past, were issue 145, United, the Rise to Glory, and number 43, The Rivals. 145 was a retelling of the story of how United rose to glory, of course, that's the title, but it contradicted almost everything it was ever established, including all the strips in Champ. Because I don't know if people remember, in 1984 in Champ, they did a history of United, of the recent years of United, almost retelling, or telling, should I say. It seemed like retelling, because it's like part of us, wasn't it, United? It's the 1979 European Cup final, the 1980 FA Cup final, for example. So that's all official. Issue 43 was a retelling of the story of how Terry Evans and Alex Jones joined the club. But for those two, sadly, as I say, there are too many contradictions, so they're gone. I'm cutting those two from continuity.
So I did like that. Champ is that's your bedrock, isn't it? That's what you've gone for, isn't it? That's your foundation.
Yeah. There's the one thing that I could be contradicted is in the Norwegian book. Well, I don't know if people have read it yet or downloaded it. Tug is older than Joe, but in Champ, Joe is older than Tug. There's a 1 year gap each time, but they've slightly rewritten it. So for the sake of clarity, I've put them at the same age, just to make it easier. And Terry and Alex the same age. I've gone on to for those watching on YouTube, I've gone onto my next screen now on the presentation. And I'm doing an age count. And I'm doing an age count for Sam Bradburn, who I put as 50 in the 85 to 86 season. Tuck and Joe at 36, Terry and Alex at 20. I'm not going to say it again on the podcast, so people can just have a look on YouTube if they want to go along with that. I'm just going to go to my other bit now so I can work down. Okay, so we're into now to the 1985 to 86 season, featured in Football Picture Story Monthly. For me, issue 2, We Are United, issue 14, Hijack, another Norwegian book, United Invades Asia. United won the FA Cup in Champ and the UEFA Cup in Football Picture Story Monthly, but there are issues with the latter as the UEFA Cup run isn't mentioned in Victor. I think, to be honest, issue 2 and probably even issue 14 were probably written as almost like annuals, if you see what I mean, like they did with Roy the Rovers annual. They weren't written to fit in. They might have who knows how long Football Picture Story Monthly was going to go. So they were probably told, write a We Are United story, but it gives us issues. So my headcanon rewrites issue 2 saying the UEFA Cup. Problem is Kevin Nicklish was injured. in this. So the UEFA Cup final was held early due to the World Cup in the United verse. So that took place before the FA Cup semi-finals, and in an unprecedented We Are United move. That fits it in.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the annuals as well, Ian, because both those two, issue 2 and issue 14, well, issue 2 certainly just concentrates around one game, the UEFA Cup final.
Yes.
And issue 14 is they're abroad for a couple of high-profile games. I can't quite remember what it is now. So they are like little annuals. Here's a little snapshot of take your pick when it happened, almost. So that's a good shout. I quite like that.
I've got to say, sorry to interrupt very briefly, Ian.
Yeah.
You're bloody brilliant already. I'm loving this.
Mate, I'm only on page 1. We got ages to go yet.
I know, and I'm already bloody loving it.
Thanks very much. I was just going to say, by the way, it was called the Super Cup in issue 14. It was meant to almost be the World Club Championship, I think, but they called it the Super Cup. So if number 14 is official, you could say United qualified for the Super Cup win as UEFA Cup winners after the European Cup winners were expelled. So you can say that kind of football violence maybe happened a year later in the United verse. However, the Norwegian book United Invades Asia is a much better summer tour story. It also involves going to Japan. And in that book, it says it's the first time they've ever gone to Japan. So it totally contradicts number 14. Or it could be rewritten that they face Flumin' Bees in the Super Cup after their other tournament in United Invades Asia. It extends so much after the Mexico World Cup. It's completely almost like unbelievable. It's the only way for it, to be honest. So that's what I'm going on that one. So on to my next slide on this, if it works. Here we go. I'm having to slide a few things here and there, by the way, behind the scenes. So it just, anyway, 1986 to 87, we've got the goals of Jimmy Grant, which was in Victor. 4 Games from Glory, Football Picture Story Month number 23, and the Victor Summer Special. The issue number 23 takes place at the end of the goals of Jimmy Grant's season in Victor, because what we don't see in Victor, we see that they win the league and Jimmy Grant scores some goals, but we don't see the last few games. So Grant could be injured in 4 Games from Glory, so that fits it in. The Victor Summer Special shows a match in United's tour of Mexico, so that also fits in there.
Right, okay.
So I'm going on to the next one, which is 1987 to 88. For that, I've got 2 books down, which is issue number 59 of Football Picture Story Monthly Superstar, and then a little bit of a story from the goals of Jimmy Grant as well. It's the only possible gap for Superstar, which I loved it with Maladona. Fits in nicely. There's no mention of Trick or Smart, so it has to be before that. Oldcastle are mentioned at the bottom of the league and they're struggling, so they probably must be relegated this year. That comes up in future issues. The season ends with a tour of Australia portrayed in Victor, where Jimmy Grant is brought back to replace, is it Malandro or Maladona? I can't remember. It's something like that anyway. I've written it down twice here. So anyway, that is that season here. So we're going to go on to the next one now, which is 4 books for 1988 to 89. This is where it gets lovely and confusing. So we've got issue 53. It's always going to be Football Picture Story Monthly now. Issue 53, Rags to Riches. Issue 117, Tugs Challenge. 86, Best of British, and then 69, The Golden Boys. Here's how it works. Issue 53. We see in this issue that Trick or Smart joins United fairly early in the season, aged, I think, 18, after Kevin Nickleish is injured. Read that one up to page 45 and then stop. Okay. Then read issue 117. Tug Wilson has to leave in this particular season, and the 3rd round of the FA Cup is portrayed in that book, so it nicely fits in here. Then you read issue 86. There's no option now to read a few stories out of order, a few matches out of order. So read this, and it concludes the FA Cup run. Kevin Nickleish will return from injury to play in the FA Cup final, and United are denied a double because we see them winning the championship in issue 53. Read the rest of the issue now from page 46. Then go on to issue 69. This goes back in the timeline a month or so. Kevin Nicklish is injured again. He's injured twice in the same season, a bit injury prone at this moment in time. This gives another take on the story to continue to postseason. Now, Tricker is said to be 19 years old, and that fits in with the timeline of him playing at his old club, when he was a 17 to 18-year-old. So it has to be, those two books, because of his age, have to be in the same season. So that is that season.
And the Golden Boys, that has an end of season Golden Boot
it
friendly game,
does.
doesn't it? Like a little tournament at the end of that rounds that season off.
It does. It completely
very good.
it off. And you see that he's a new one there. 1989 to 90, two books, 76, The Goalmaker, and 97, World Cup Wonder. Issue 97 is clearly dated 1990 and shows a struggling season, so issue 76 could easily fit in before that. Tug Wilson is managing Oldcastle already in issue 97, which came out 20 issues before he left in issue 117, which is why I've had to place 117 before that. So I don't know if anyone noticed that continuity at the time. That it already showed him managing Oldcastle. So that's those two seasons there. Just my screen. Sorry for these pauses, people listening. 1990 to 91, issue 100, The Master, and Search for a Striker, which is in the Football Picture Story special. So I'm going to give a quick mention to that. It came from 1980. That was actually published in 1989. Terry Evans is injured and they search for a replacement. Tricker Smart's on crutches. It's a difficult one to fit in. The closest fit is that 1990 to 91 season. There's a large gap in the book where we hear that United rise up the table, and the Football Picture Story special could happen in that gap, with Terry Evans being fit again for the last few games, despite in the strip Search for a Striker they say he's out for the season. Now, hey, they were wrong. He came back for the last couple of games. So that's how I fit that in.
Hey, in amongst all this, Ian, what's your thought on why do United play in an all-red kit that season?
They do, don't they?
What's your thoughts on that? Is that an anniversary kit? What can we come up, what do we think on that?
I don't know. I once put on my head canon when they kind of rewrote the strips in Roy of the Rovers, when they recolored all the strips when it changed artists. And I think Dean's Park, we used to play in blue, played in yellow. I just thought, there must have been a fire or something and destroyed one of the kits. And they and so they had to play in red, which is their away kit for the rest of the season. Yeah. So they got off the rest of the season because they got it back again. But for those bits, maybe some of the kit.
It could have been a controversial, like Cardiff City when they changed from blue to red.
Don't please. I've spent the last decade trying to get over that.
Sorry, Ian. Sorry. Carry on.
1991 to 92, just the one book. We Are United. No explanation. It's just the next book in line. United narrowly escaped relegation. So it's quite an easy one, that. 1990.
Very good book, that one.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. 1992 to 93. 131 The Rebel, 135 The Glory Hunters. 131 easily fits in before 135. It contains a section of a season. It can fit in anywhere, but there's no reason to go out of order here, so it just goes in order. Issue 135 actually tells the story of two seasons, 1992 to 93 and 1993 to 94, where they do the treble. In 1993 to 94, they eventually do the treble of League, FA Cup, and League Cup. At the end of it, now, for me, 167 goes off to 135. It needs to be slightly rewritten so that Rovers are relegated in 135 in the penultimate game, not the last game, because they portrayed them the last game of the season in 167. So if you do a slight rewrite on that, the season fits in. And we have to do slight rewrites, otherwise they're playing till about 60 years old. Otherwise the seasons have to go like that. 1994 to 95 comes next. That shows that's in 167. That shows all four cups. They win all four cups there. That's a rugby league term, by the way. All four cups. It was from way back, but it fits in here. It fits in quite nicely here. So. On to the next one, Exiled, issue 157. This story is about Terry Evans going to Italy for a year, but due to the amount of seasons being featured, and United not doing too much in this story, I am calling this as unofficial. Sorry, I've gone back. I've gone one too many here. So if you on for those mentioning on the screen, but yeah, for that particular season, the Terry Evans one, I am writing that one out of my history. Wow. Any comments on that one?
Is that controversial, guys?
Hey, we could have that as he wakes up and that whole season in Italy was just a dream.
I like just going to say the dream sequence.
Yeah.
We've got that. I know it's meant to be parodying Ian Rush. That particular book, but I do.
Yes, is that? Yeah, you reckon that's the inspiration? The Ian Rush.
Yeah, definitely. He joined Udinese, and
Yeah.
Ian Rush joined Juventus and came back after a year after not liking it that much and joined the same club again. So it's an absolute parody of that.
Dream sequence then. It's a
dream sequence. Could be.
Did Terry Evans ever say it felt like playing in a foreign country?
He never did. No, he never commented about it. It was the whole thing forgotten about. It was like that episode of The Simpsons where we realised that Principal Skinner isn't Principal Skinner, and they never talk about it ever again.
You know what? This is so controversial. I'm not even sure at which issue I visited the mill anymore.
Oh, God, blimey. God. There you go.
We're going to get Ian to write that one out of history as well.
Exiled.
Yeah. And sorry for YouTube people that have gone on one screen too many. That's me trying to slide a few things back and forth.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? I was muted before for some reason because I
okay.
Mute. But I've come up with an idea for the kit colour change.
Yeah.
A lot of people might have had black and white TV, and when they watched United and they played against the team in white, the colours might have clashed. So for that season, till everybody got rid of the black and white TVs and went to colour, they played in a darker red colour so they could distinguish on TV. And then when they realised more people have colour TVs, they went back to the normal colour.
Could be, yeah.
Wow. Can you go back on mute, please, Neil?
I will move on, I think, to 1995 to 96, and I've got no explanation for this, but it just follows on in the narrative. There we go. On to 1996 to 97. 3 books featured here. Number 183, Mr. United. Number 215, Storm Warning. And number 175, A World Apart. 175 is away from United and definitely takes place in the same season as 183. It's when Fred Rimmy and Charlie Barr leave and run another club. Pretty much run it because they see stadium painting. And you actually see the same scene of stadium painting in 175 and 183, but drawn by different artists.
That's interesting.
There does need a rewrite, though, as we need to ignore a page in one of the books where United were knocked out the FA Cup in the 5th round. But in 215 is a very similar story to 183, extremely similar, and the narrative fits in. But if you say that the run in 215 is the League Cup instead of the FA Cup, then it all fits in nicely. So it takes one of my rewrites here for it to all fit in. But if you read those books, you'll see that they are extremely similar in narrative. So on to 1997 to 98, I've got 2 books here. Number 193, The American Dream, and number 201, Outback United. We're now running 4 years ahead of publication for number 193, The American Dream. This issue was meant to be a lead into the World Cup in 1994 in the USA, but there's no reason, or little reason, why they can't be referring to the 1998 World Cup. I'm saying perhaps in the United-verse, maybe the World Cups from 1994 to 98 were swapped around. Maybe the venues were swapped around in the United-verse, and then it could fit in that USA happened in 1998. As for issue 201, I didn't want a wasted season, so I've set the opening game to the 1998 season with a slight rewrite of the previous book, with the United clinching the title with 1 game to go instead of the last game of the season. So that kind of makes it all fit in there. So that's those 2. If I go on now to 1998 to 99, which is issue 225 on the cheap, it follows on straight from 2000 from issue 201, as United are mentioned as Premier League champions. And we go on to issue 231, where we have the second and not quite the second, the 4th, shall I say, because they were too early on. The final one of my Exile books. And this is Return of a Hero. There are too many ups and downs that lead into 235. We're now getting through 4 years in the space of 4 months of releases. It isn't the greatest of stories either. It's similar to another story in the same era where a villain takes over a position, someone is rightfully put back in their place, put right back in, be it Joe Pearson or Sam Bradburn at the end of the season. Now, Tug rejoining is the only thing that needs to be documented, but we can't work around that he just wasn't mentioned that he rejoined. That was the name of it, Return of a Hero. That was meant to be Tug Wilson. But sadly, for me, I'm afraid it can't fit in, so it has to go. Any comments on this?
Yeah, see, and that one we've now got United with squad numbers and names on their shirts and stuff like that, haven't we? I'm just having a look at it now.
Yeah.
So this is the one where is the Return of the Hero? Is it Tug Wilson, or are we saying it's?
It is. It's Tug Wilson, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can see him coaching now. I've got the book in front of me now. I'm just flicking through.
Yeah, he comes back from Oldcastle to be assistant coach. I don't know why maybe he got the sack from Oldcastle, who knows? But he certainly came back to be assistant, and I think things were going wrong. Was that the one where Joe leaves or Sam Bradburn leaves? I didn't note it down in my notes, and I can't remember, but I know it's one of them leaves and someone takes over. I think it might be when Sam Bradburn leaves.
Yeah, I'm just flicking through. I can't actually see that, but we've got a bit of an evolution of the squad now. We've got like Jason McBride up front with Dean Hunter. We're sort of moving on to that sort of mid.
We are. Yeah.
That's an excellent spot the ball cover. So near and yet so far.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. The X marks the spot for those who are watching on YouTube and seeing my fancy enough graphics for that one. I'm going on to the next season now, 1999 to 2000. And seeing as we've got to the millennium, I will do an age count now. Sam Bradburn, 64, Tug and Joe are 50, and Terry and Alex are 34. So I'm stretching it a little bit now, but the finals game of the start, there was a final game of the season at the start of issue 235, War Games, which is the book featured here. I really disliked it when they did. And here's the last game of the season, and we'll do a whole season. It's nothing to do with the last season that we featured, and you need rewrites. So it's a partial rewrite of issue 225. And so, yeah, basically a part of the rewrite of issue 261 nicely continues on from this, by the way. If you substitute the FA Cup for the League Cup and give United a third successive title once again. So issue 261 is local rivals, and that's you see the start of you see the end of the last season on that. It does nicely follow on, and it doesn't matter that the books are out of order here, with 261 coming before 243 in my books here. So for me, 243 comes next, out of order, in the 2001 to 2002 season. Issue 243 was called United We Fall. United are said to be the holders of the European Cup, so it could have been after either of those books, 235 or 261. So that's me for issue 243. I go on to the issue 2002 to 2003 season. We've still got a while to go here, by the way.
Keep going. Keep going. It's great.
The Rivals. No real reason for its placement, by the way, just through time of release, and it does continue on. Okay, so there's not a great deal of comments that I can make on that particular one. The 2003 to 04 season is a book called Tailor Made, issue 281, and it's great. We get some international football here, back for ages. Part of this story is set at the start of the new season, which includes a World Cup qualifier between Spain and Scotland. So 2004 fits in well.
That kit's gorgeous. That shirt.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It is. Almost looks like the one I'm wearing here.
It does, actually. Yeah,
I'm wearing a kind of United shirt for those who are watching on YouTube. I managed to find this. I was looking for ages for this to wear for this podcast, and I eventually found it on eBay.
You look resplendent, Ian. I was just wondering, because I haven't read this one, 281, but is that, I mean, it looks like Hedgehog there. So was Hedgehog still playing for United at this stage?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the whole thing with this is this whole run, with the exception of the final two books, Hedgehog and Terry play for the entire amount.
Right. Okay.
But they are the Roy and Blackie basically of United.
Or
They're
the Ant and Dec and or
and Deck, except
Luke and Van Goss. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Thank
except,
you.
I'll leave it there.
except they doesn't matter who stands on the left and right with Alex and Terry. So
Yeah.
the 2003-4 to 5 season, we get a bit more of tailor-made in that because it takes tailor-made issue 281 does take place over 2 seasons. Then you've got issue 293 Earthquake and issue 297 Beat the Drop. And there's no problems at all. They're all nice. Each continue on from the other, by the way. 293, no problems with 293 and 297, ending the season that started in 281. So they're going all right in continuity from about now on.
Good shout out for 293 as well. I'm just looking as you're going through me, and this is great. I'm having a
no, it's great. You carry on. You carry on.
But 293, is this the first Neville Wilson one for a good long while? I just noticed like some fantastic artwork again, particularly around.
It could well be. I think he did one of the books early on where the one I mentioned a few slides back where where Fred and Charlie leave United. I think he did one of those books. But apart from that,
because there's some good. Obviously, there's because of Earthquake. There's some non-football, lots of artwork non-football of the disaster and stuff like that.
Right.
There's some.
He was good at that, wasn't he? He was really
good.
great on. He started off, I think, Neville Wilson is not a football artist.
Was it War Comics?
He did. Sorry?
Was it War Comics he did? Did he do
He did War Comics, yeah. He did a lot of stuff like that. So when it comes to Earthquakes, by the way, a lot of these books were provided to me, loans to me, I suppose you could say, by Richard Woods, who we've mentioned before. So thanks, Richard, for letting me see some of these, because I'm sure I've got them all, but I've got a whole load stuck in the garage that I filed in the wrong place. So I got Richard to thank you for loaning me a few that I could see there. We go on to the issue 2005 to 2006 season, Beat the Drop. That season started in the last book, which I just mentioned. Issue 297 records United escaping relegation. It went very well.
My ex lost that. Sorry, just that's a bit of an aside for everybody. Issue 297. I still haven't, and I haven't got it back.
Oh no!
There you go. A little bit of.
Just move on, Ian. Leave with us to cry. Just leave with us to cry.
That's more lifestyle advice. Don't leave your football comic libraries.
For those watching on YouTube, we now get into the period of we can't be bothered or we haven't got the money to commission new covers. Because issue 2006 to 07, by the way, was season. I'm getting my words mixed up here. Season 2006 to 07 were issues 311 Virtual Reality and 323 Hurricane. Now they are both books. The covers of both of these were featured elsewhere. Hurricane is definitely the one is the Maradona book.
Yeah, that's Superstar, and Virtual Reality is 4 Games from Glory.
That's right.
Yeah, coloured slightly differently, but it's the same cover,
Yeah. So I don't know. I think at this time already they dropped the 3-color inside, the red, black, and white. So this is probably at the time now where comics were starting not to be bought as much, and they were selling less. And I guess commissioning a new cover, if they felt it wasn't necessary, they didn't have to pay the 50 quid or 100 quid or whatever it was. And the person who drew the cover.
Were these released, I guess, in the late 90s? I'm thinking, were they, or early
this is
late 90s.
Go on, you take a look at that. So I haven't noted that down in my notes that I've got on screen.
Issue 311 was copyright 1999. So
there we go. So we're now basically about 7 years ahead of publication. The way these seasons fit in, because this is to say it's the 2006 to 2007 season where United win the league and cup double. I was going to mention the trophies throughout, and I just forgot my bit on my notes here. But there we go, because in 2004-05 they'd won the league, FA Cup, Champions League, and World Club Cup. But yeah, in 06 to 07 they win the league and cup double. 3-1-1 and 3-2-3 can fit together and should do to save a wasted season. But in 3-1-1, it shows United being knocked out the FA Cup, and 3-2-3, it shows them winning it. If that can be written to be the League Cup, then all's good.
Right.
It also needs to be an odd-numbered year. 2007, there's no World Cup or Euros at the end of the season. So it has to be an odd-numbered year for that one. So on to the next season, which is 2007-8, and another old cover.
Yeah.
It's issue 339 to United's for the 2007-08 season, and a cover that was featured where they'd won the quadruple. However, can you do for those who've seen the covers, they might be able to do a spot the difference, because it's a different cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They hold
it is. Yes.
And the stadium's not Wembley. They have the tower in the background, but it's been brushed off.
Yeah, that's right.
Good spot.
That's right. Because United are shown to have won the European Cup, so they had to finish high up the year before, which is what they did. And it goes well with them being champions in the previous book. That is the 2007-2008 season is United's final league title that we know about. It's the slippery slide after that one. And I only have a few seasons to go, by the way. Actually, I've got quite a few seasons to go. But it's their, United's final league title was 2007-2008.
Well, until Ridders gets his hands on it, and then he suddenly...
Until Ridders does, yeah, that's right. Yeah. The 2008-2009 season contains two books. Issue 339 to United, which I've just mentioned, and issue 343, the other United. Obviously, that means that there were two seasons featured in issue 339. They fit in nicely with each other, by the way. In issue 343, very little of the season is shown because it's a fantastic book, issue 343, the other United, where they go to, I think it's somewhere in Africa, isn't it, where they donate kit to a side that have adopted United as a local side in Africa, who adopt United as their twin club. It's a bit of text in 343 says that United aren't in the FA Cup final, though. But I can put that down as either an error or meaning the first team weren't in the FA Cup final, because issue 339 is called Two Uniteds because they had one team playing in the FA Cup and one team playing in the League and the World Club Cup, which is almost not quite a rewrite of Manchester United, because Manchester United didn't bother entering the FA Cup. They pulled out the FA Cup to compete in the World Club Challenge. Liverpool actually did something similar, of course, didn't they? They played a reserve team after this. In fact, this preempted Liverpool playing a reserve side in the League Cup and getting knocked out by Shrewsbury. Ridders would love that, but
I've got the video of that.
I'm sure you do, yeah. Where Liverpool reserves get knocked out by Shrewsbury, but United reserves win the FA Cup in 339. So, but yeah, a bit of text in 343 says United aren't in the FA Cup final. We'll say that the first team weren't in. Everything else fits in. It's worth an inclusion because it is a really, really good story. 343. When I read it for the first time since it was published just a couple of months ago, absolutely loved it. Right, I'm trying to get onto my next slide now. Did I get onto it?
You did.
Yep.
For those that are watching on YouTube, Ridders is absolutely having kittens. It's like Christmas, his birthday.
I was thinking that you're absolutely right, Cole. And if the tangential one was here, could you imagine?
Oh, I'm
it'd
really
be up
sorry.
and down like somebody's drawers. If he will be able to cut. I think that's why he's purposely actually not turned up. Just thinking it would just blow his mind. It would absolutely love this.
I know he'll be. Maybe he can leave the comments instead of me. I want him to leave the comments on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a cracking idea.
Ridders watching this for the next 2 weeks over and over and over again to get all his books in the right chronological order.
Yeah. But you can some of them because how am I going to do 53 and 69? I don't know how this works. I'm going to page 45 of this, then page 46 of this. So, oh no, I'm like,
I'm going to be the photocopier.
You see ripping chapters out.
I'd love
Yes.
the one thing I was going to mention of that season with Tricker Smart. I'd love to have seen all that featured in Champ. That would have been marvelous for all those 4 books to have been featured in Champ comic. Would have been a great. So maybe one day someone will scan it all in and kind of rewrite it as a champ. That would be excellent.
Yeah.
2009 to 10 season. Seeing as the books were stopped publishing in 2002 now, so we are absolutely way ahead of publishing. It's called the book is issue 355. It's called We Are Not United. United are in the UEFA Cup, but the last story shows them winning the league. So it could be that they were eliminated in the Champions League qualifier. So that's where I write that in. To save another kind of, we weren't paying attention to continuity from the writers. And they weren't expecting us to review it years later. Season 2010 to 11 is issue number 377. By this time, something I can come up here. There we go. By this time, Terry Evans and Alex Jones are 45 years old. So they're going well. They're nearing.
They're doing well.
And Hedgehog's been on the sunbed there, hasn't he?
He certainly has. You can see the wrinkles. I think the wrinkles are down from being a 45-year-old Premiership footballer as well. And he's probably coming off the bench a few times, although I know Terry complained a bit later, blimey, they've substituted me. Yeah, you're kind of like 47 years old, mate. You're like,
yeah, have a rest.
Yeah, exactly. 2010 to 11 season does show the end of the previous season where United failed to win a trophy and finished 5th, so not in the Champions League. Things seem to be going downhill for United at the moment. Like I said, they haven't won the league in ages or a trophy in ages. Maybe
a different shirt sponsor as well.
It is. They did change shirt sponsors in that particular issue as part of the storyline. Again, it's one of these things where something changes and they kind of almost gets the reboot at the end of the book, doesn't it? Everything's back. We're back to computer and technology systems. So should be LTS by now, maybe laptop and technology systems, or even mobile MTS, mobile and technology systems. But no, they're still going. Great company. I wonder if Bill Gates owns it. They've certainly been doing well, being a loan shirt sponsor for a football club for well over 20 years.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
This one, as I say, they finished 5th, and they're not in the Champions League. Okay. Going on to the next book now. I think that's another duplicate cover, isn't it? For All or Nothing, issue 384.
Yeah, Beat the Drop.
For Beat the Drop. So another cover that was featured not so long before. In fact, issue 384, All or Nothing, for the issue 2011 to 12 season. And that's where they win the Champions League. So they have won a trophy. It was their last major trophy that we see them winning in the books. And notice there is someone missing now, because Sam Bradburn has passed on ownership of the club to another person. He's retired in his age 65, which is a great retirement age. Age 75, should I say, a good retirement age, and he's passed on the club. Terry and Alex are age 46. United win the Champions League. So every other story now, they do continue on quite nicely with each other, and there is actually a sake of continuity through all the books, where they do refer from now on, where they actually refer to the last book in the plot line. So I have to acknowledge everything here. In issue 2012 to 13, they do. In issue 393, Terry's Triumphs, which is in the 2012 to 13 season, they are talked about being the Champions League holders, so that Terry's Triumphs have to acknowledge now that Terry is leaving the club. He's getting on a bit. He's going to, is it Shefton? Not Shefton, Shelford. Shelford, local rival Shelford. And he is playing there.
Oh, okay. So has Terry moved on in this one? Does he move on in this one? I can't remember.
Terry does. He moves on.
He moves in this one, does he?
Yeah, he goes on loan.
Oh, yeah, he's not getting played, is he? He's not getting... At the age
that's the one where...
At the age of 48, he's not getting enough games.
Yeah, that's the one he complains, where he's 46, 47 years old, and he gets substituted, so he starts from the bench and wonders what on earth is happening to him. Well, I think, and seeing as this book was published around 2001, he's meant to be about 35. So you can see the complaints, but we have to write it in here, don't we? 2013 to 14. This issue continues straight afterwards. As I said, Rovers, now starring Terry Evans, are promoted, and in this issue, United are relegated. So Riverton go down. Is it Riverton? Is it Shelford? Is it someone else? We call it Riverton, but they go down into the Championship for the first time. Joe Pearson gets the boot. Tug Wilson probably gets the boot with him. I don't think we see him in the next issue. And it is the end of an era that United are down, and that is issue 404 in the 2013 to 2014 season.
Yeah, that's right. Hedgehog even has a haircut in that one when he gets announced. He smartens up, doesn't he?
He does.
The last panel is him with a smart haircut.
Yeah, that's right.
Ish.
Yeah. And he hasn't gone. I wonder if he's grown out of going to the local disco by now.
No, never. I had a pint with him the other night.
Never, even when. I hope I've not put a spanner in your works, Ridders, because you're calling your stuff the 2001 season. Is there any chance you can call it the 15 to 16 season?
Mine's multiverse. Don't worry. Mine's yeah. We'll sort it out for the TARDIS. It'll be fine.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Things happen when you do time travel.
Yeah.
We got the last two books now. Whilst we were at the end of an era, we are at the end of a presentation pretty much now. The 2014 to 15 season is actually documented in two books, running pretty concurrently with each other. Issue 413, Battling Back. United are promoted again. The Evans-Jones saga ends when they're 49 years old. As I said at the start, the same age when Billy Meredith quit top flight football. So if Billy Meredith can do it, and Stan Matthews can play till he's 50, but I don't think that was at top flight, so can Terry and Alex. I don't care that fitness is increased at this time, that it was in 100 years beforehand. That's fine. They're supermen. They're robots, whatever. Terry and Alex, they can do it till they're 49 and that's it. 12 years ahead of publication. Issue 417 is called The Dream. We'll talk about you've talked about the cover in a previous podcast, but we might go into it again in a bit. But I'll talk about the book first. It's all about a young lad who wants to play for United. He's rejected. He goes to other clubs, and he eventually rejoins United. And the story will continue with him as the new hero, and Terry and Alex as the managers from the 2015 to 2016 season. So that is that. So we have, according to my list and according to what I just talked about, for those watching on YouTube, and if you're not watching on YouTube, please have a look, because I've listed my known major honours up to 2015 of Riverton United. A lot of these were marked down in issue 1 of Champ, and I've marked them down from the notes that I've been doing for this presentation. Showing the seasons of United. So it shows that they've won the league champions 23 times, the FA Cup league champions, that's Premier League and First Division, I don't care, it's top league, 23 times. FA Cup winners 14 times, League Cup 7 times, the last time being in the year 2000, so a bit of a drought of not doing well in the League Cup there. European Cup winners 4 times, UEFA Cup once, World Club twice, and Super Cup. In fact, there might be a 5th European Cup I've left out there, so sorry about that. It's 5 European Cups. But there we go. And Super Cup once, maybe twice, I don't know. Don't know what that trophy was, but there we go. So that's pretty much it. And I think, as I say, I made an error there. I think it was a European Cup winners 5 times. But apart from that, that's where we are.
Fantastic.
Wow. Look, Ian, that was absolutely superb. I'm going to go around all the guys, so take a turn to kind of give their thoughts on that. But thank you so much for presenting that, and hopefully, I implore people, if they're listening to the pod, to have a look on YouTube, because just from my perspective, like seeing all those covers, it reminds you how superb the covers are as well. Seeing all those kind of covers, it was brilliant. But anyway, okay, right. So let's kick off. Let's go to Simo, let's go to you. So what are your kind of thoughts on? I know you're a massive, obviously from the champ days is that's your specialist subject. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that presentation?
Yeah, my mind's blown because, like I say, I've not seen any of the Football Story Monthlies with United, so I'm trying to take in a massive amount of information there, and it's just like wow.
It is wow, yeah.
So, but the good thing is, now that I've actually heard what Ian's got to say, if I ever do get my hands on them, I can read them in the order he's presented them, and it won't seem such a jarring effect if I was to read them as they were produced.
Yeah, and even read the Excel books as well, of course, because you'll know that Ian didn't count that one, or we don't count that one, that kind of thing, and that's the annual ones, the dreams.
Yeah. The only real question I've got is, when they said the continuity seemed to fall more into place around 2011, 2012.
Yeah, that's right.
Was there a change of writers there?
I don't know. They never listed the writers.
They never listed.
No, it wasn't.
It seems strange that they've gone quite a long time where the continuity seemed to be all over the place.
Yes.
And then the last few years, they actually got it right.
Yeah. I would have said they probably had a team of writers that were told, here are the players, what do you want to do with them this season? Maybe that's one we need to ask the editors about if they had any plan, that kind of thing. But I think in the last few years, obviously, they had kind of a showrunner, that's what you call it, like they would on a TV program, someone who actually took notice. But even then, of course, they were releasing too many books. I guess it's because United was very popular and they wanted to continue do as many as possible. But because we went, 12 years ahead of publication, they were releasing too many. That's the only thing. Other than that,
it's a shame because you would hope that the people in charge of it that are actually writing it would be actually fans of the story and would want to check what's gone before to make sure that it fits. It's a shame when that doesn't happen.
It is, isn't it? And you get a few player inaccuracies here and there as well, but not many. Those can be written about.
But again, I suppose it's like we keep saying, they didn't realise in 25 years' time you'd have 6 of us on the podcast.
That's it. Yes. A bunch of middle-aged nerds.
Totally dismantling it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, right? They should have thought that.
The Champ We Are United podcast team.
Hey.
Exactly. Great questions. Bygone Berrigan. What's your thoughts on questions?
I think I really enjoyed listening to that. I'm sure the listeners did too. It's just amazing how you can put, like all the seasons and make it into a long story, because I'm sure many people just read them issue to issue and didn't think of continuity. I just enjoy them for the story that they are, and I'm going to have to go back and I've got the issues you've got, but I couldn't remember some of the stories. I can't remember the sponsor changing and things like that, because it must be nearly 20 years since I would have read them the first time and then not again. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic piece of work, especially where you've brought issues forward and pieced them together and things like that. Because it's easy, it's like statistics. You can bend statistics to fit whatever you want to do, can't you? I'm not an IT, but I'm not a mathematician. But no, you can, and it's the same with yourself. You can either read it as they were produced, or you can read it like you yourself and put it in a logical order. And I really enjoy what you've done. And I'm just going to have to read back now and go to page 46 and then read the next one and then come back again to see how it does work.
It's great fun when you do that. It really is. It really enhances your enjoyment of that kind of era, especially, when there's an issue, 40 issues in the future has to be fitted into that gap.
Yeah, I mean, it happened, I know, in Roy the Rovers, with the safest stands in soccer and goalkeeper.
Yes.
And it was hard to wonder why that Gordon had a 16-year-old son that he never spoke about with no wife a year later. Yeah. And then everyone, I didn't realise till I started listening to the podcast that it was actually Gordon his story was set earlier.
It was meant to be, apparently.
In the 60s. But that was never, I don't think that was ever mentioned.
It wasn't, and in fact, I think that was a reboot, basically.
Yeah, but it
was meant to be set in present day. But when they actually published, someone wrote in about it. How come? As you said with that question.
Yeah, I think we featured it on a podcast, didn't we? We actually
brought
it up. Yeah. But it allows the reader. You can either read it as a brand new story with an old character's dad, or you can read it, as you say, with canon if you want to do it. And it's really, I've only just purchased the Champs, so I'm reading through them. But I'm going to read through all the Champs, and I must say, what a great effort! And I'm really pleased that you've come on today and shared it with us.
Ah, no worries. Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Bygone. Goal. We come to you. What are your thoughts? Well, you said already how blown away you were after 3 slides. So, what are your thoughts now?
Well, I'll say, starting off here, unfortunately, he's passed out because his brain. Hang on.
Give him a cup of tea, Doc. Give him a cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm all right. Actually, seriously, I'm back now. Thanks, Doc. That's all right, Cal. That was just amazing. I mean, yeah, you blew my mind. I am actually speechless. I mean, I'm sure you're aware that Eagle Rich, Richard Woods, and I back on the forum and various others. We've gone back to 1945 tenuously.
Yes, and Richard actually gave me his spreadsheet when he did that, and I followed that for a bit, and then I realised, there's a lot more I want to include. He's cut out a few from here, so I kind of.
And I was going to say, that was, yeah, bravo.
Excellent.
Thanks very much, Carl.
And Ridders, yourself. If you just pull yourself away from your books, which you're just flicking through.
Yeah. Well,
that's great. I'm glad you got it.
Isn't that great? Isn't that a great part of all this? You go back to your books, don't you? That is. But thanks for that, Ian. That was absolutely brilliant. As a big United fan myself, that was superb. Very well researched, by the way. It reminded me of if I don't know if you guys read any of the American comics, but I'm a massive Batman comic fan as well. So when you read the massive DC events, you go online and you have to look up the reading orders.
Yeah.
There was a DC reboot in early 2000s called The New 52. But if you want to read that era, you have to go back. And so basically what you've done as a We Are United reading order. So that's great. This fits in here now, and it all makes a bit more sense if you do this. So I will be using that presentation to go back through it. But yeah, thanks very much. Great research, slotting things in where, that fits in there because that was a World Cup year or there wasn't. So really good. And the trophies follow on and the seasons and the players. And we've got who was it? Was it Bobby in Dallas? We've got a Bobby Ewing shower, waking up from the dream moment with Terry's season at Juvenese. So that's great. That adds a bit of a character to the story. And
Definitely.
Fantastic. Just really good. And I'm now going to read through all the Picture Story Monthly Uniteds again.
I'd like to add one more thing, if that's okay. The interesting thing is that if people are watching on YouTube, just note how everyone was enthralled, really enthralled. Apart from Bygone, who I did see do a wonderful yawn. Look forward to looking at that on YouTube. But I'm only kidding, Bygone. That was incredible. Yeah, it's we were all so enthralled. So thank you for giving up your time and talking practically non-stop. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Carl. And it's not going to be my only appearance on this. I'm confident of that. I'm really enjoying it.
And it's also just to say, it's a nice to have another fresh take, a fresh bit of input, a fresh way of viewing things on books that went out of publication.
I was just going to say the same.
So long ago,
Ridders, we all talk about, I bet they didn't know 20 years later we'd be all talking about these comics. It's just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
We're finding like you've just brought something that's fresh, that's nearly 25 years old. There's not many things that you can't watch a film and then 25 years, I've rediscovered this. Whereas this series, and this is only, like, you're only touching on We Are United, that universe. There'll be things about Jimmy Grant, Klein and Powell. There'll be little Easter eggs along the way that you can link it to other stories. We've just there's going to be listeners out there who go, yeah, I can piece together that. And it's fantastic. There's the different timelines. And then, you know what? I wish we could ask the people, was it, like you said, is this intentional? Was it wrote intentionally by people who were fans? Or is it just by, I don't know what it is, that it's like The Matrix, you've just seen the light and thought, no, that's how you link it up.
Again, that goes with a lot of Football Picture Story Monthlies as well. The ones that were standalone and not
Like
United,
Stark,
not Klein and Powell, and even not Stark. What were their inspirations to write those stories? You can see some obvious ones at times. There was one I was talking about on Facebook this morning, which was inspiration. There was an edition inspired by Merthyr Tydfil, winning the Welsh Cup in 1987, and then beating Atalanta in the first round, first leg of the European Cup Winners' Cup, and losing in the second leg. And
that was memories for me. I sat and remember watching that live.
Yes, I did as well. I remember it too. I was in school at the time, and
so I was an afternoon match. That one.
No, it was. It would have been evening, but it was. They had the lights. Yeah, it was. I remember it. It was pretty sold out. It would have been about 7:30 in the evening. But I was at school at the time, shall I say.
Memory of me running home from school to watch it. Maybe I'd gone out after school and then I was running home to watch it.
It might have been early doors. It might have been about 6 or 7 o'clock. But no, I think it was a regular evening.
I was living in Prostettin at the time, so obviously we got it. Oh, okay.
Yes, of course.
Tangent's not even in. We've gone on one.
See it.
What did you say, Neil?
I said Tangent's not even here, but we've gone on one.
I just need to check on something.
It's the bald head, mate. It's the bald head.
Yeah.
I'm a tangent person myself anyway, so I go for tangents all the time.
I just need to check, just for my own mental health.
Yeah.
Do I still exist in issue 32? I'm not sure if I've mentioned it, but do I still exist in issue 32?
Well, I told you that Champ was gospel, so yeah.
Yeah, good. Excellent.
Okay, never mind. That was our chance.
That was nearly a Back to the Future moment. Then Gull was disappearing halfway. And then you said it was like official, and he come back full. He's looking at where his right hand should have been at a distance.
Oh dear! I'll tell you what, my God, that's one of the funniest things you've ever said on the
podcast. Superb. Ian, like I said, you're definitely welcome back another time. And you touched on it, I think, during your presentation about Norwegian books around, because they were syndicated, weren't they? And you translated a few of those, and come back and do
Still working on the Charlie Barr story at the moment, but work's been a bit busy right now, so I'll continue that where I can. But the Charlie Barr story is a rewrite of the old Spike stories. So I'll let people in on that one already. So it's kind of a contradiction. It's an alternate version, basically. Yeah, so nothing new that can be fit into a United verse.
Right.
But it's a good read. It's good fun. It's a good fun read, that book.
So clearly, like us, you're finding annoyingly that life gets in the way of comic stuff, and it's just so frustrating, isn't it? It's just, it's wrong. That was absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I love about Bygone being on the podcast? He says something which we sometimes don't catch, and he's already laughing at his own jokes. I love that.
I want to know what magic potion it is that Ian's got, because obviously Tangent's got the same one where they can fit more than 24 hours into a day to do all this stuff. They've got their own little time machines somewhere.
Seeing as I've been planning this since December, it's not too bad.
And the amount of work you've put into it is astonishing. I mean, I sprained my frontal lobe after about 5 minutes.
Can I just ask you, Ian? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, when you originally read the collection, did you automatically start saying, this doesn't fit, I'm going to piece it together? Or is it something because you've reread that you thought, I'll put it... Why did you decide to start putting it together like that?
I didn't think about that at the time when I read it, when they first came out, when I was young. No, I just read it and put it down. At least I don't remember thinking about that. I started thinking about it only a couple of years ago. And I think it's just because I knew there were so many and people were talking about where it all fitted in.
It's just like you brought issues forward and stuff.
Yeah, it got started on Facebook and by I think Paul. He might have put his lot on there. I'm not sure if it may have been Ritters. Ritters, did you do a timeline at one point?
Yeah, I did a timeline of sorts.
Yeah.
But I think mine was basically every time they won a trophy, I added a season.
Yeah,
So
that's it. It's
my,
yours.
so my,
It was
my
yours.
timeline ended up in 2034, and the Hedgehog and
Yeah,
Terry
yeah.
were in their 50s and 60s playing for United.
I think it was when I saw
Yeah.
yours. I thought, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not
Yeah.
like, I think Ridders is like, you know, I don't mean to say logical, but you know, like a linear as it appeared. You put
Yeah.
the trophy. Whereas yourself, you actually said, right, I'll read up to page 46 because I know
Yeah.
that episode fits in there. Why would you think that? Because I wouldn't have thought that.
Probably because I read through all the books, I read through the books in order last year and thought I needed to put them in order. And then I noticed with that particular season, Tug Wilson had to leave in that season to be with Oldcastle in the next book, but he hadn't left Oldcastle yet.
Right.
And he didn't leave Oldcastle for another 40 issues. So that had to fit in there. And there was an FA Cup run which wasn't seen in issues 53 and 69. So that FA Cup run of 86 easily fitted in. And that FA Cup run, I think, starts from the 4th round. And we see the 3rd round in issue 115, I think it is, with Tug leaving. And so it all fits in really nicely.
Yeah.
It just slots in.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, I just love it, you know, and I'm sure just for people on YouTube, I know Ridders, this is the spreadsheet you did and pulled together, like you know, all the trophies that United won, and you know, just hearing you guys talk, you know, that the ideas that one person has, somebody bounces off that, and it inspires somebody else to do something else. And I'm sure there's people listening to this that think, well, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do that now, you know. So it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and that's all. Like, so that was the one I had, where I had basically the issue and then what they won. So yeah, it's some honours list, isn't it? It's for me, it's a bit of escapism for me, being an Everton fan, because I don't get to read trophy lists and this sort of thing very often. So this really is escapism for me. This, but yeah, well, I'm kind of glad that, well, you know, because I think we started talking about United's timeline on the Facebook site, and obviously, and you've gone away and gone, well, let's make this something a bit more realistic.
Real,
in effect, let's make this a bit more realistic. Let's fit it together, and let's make it a reading order, which is it's a fantastic piece of work, and it's inspiring me to go and read these again for the 15th time. But it's
had to have the rule where they were at least younger than Stanley Matthews when they retired.
I like that.
It's a good rule.
Anything else would have been.
There's a chap playing, I think, in Asia who's 54, I think he is, or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
He's played Italy.
Miura, isn't it? Japanese player.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still going.
Yeah. So it can happen. And Ronaldo's going well at the moment, isn't he? I think he's about 40, 41, isn't he?
Which actually, the timing's worked out perfectly, because I think I'd mentioned it on the our group that I've watched a Legends match this afternoon.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's got Mark Falco playing, and he's 64 years old.
Wow.
Falco, really? Blimey.
Can't remember him.
Falco Tottenham.
Didn't he do a record as well?
Rob me Amadeus. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was.
Hang on a second. I was just about to line myself
up. Ian.
Hang on, what's going on here?
You're not going to have me back now.
There's a change to the guard going on here. You did my joke. Oh.
Ian, the fact that you've just stopped gulling his tracks means you're definitely coming back on.
Nice interception.
You know, I went to watch Man United versus Celtic Legends in September last year, and Dennis Irwin come on, and he's 59. And Raymond van der Gouw, he's 61, 62. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Playing, doing loads
keeper, isn't he?
Yeah, playing better than some of the players there now.
Yeah, Pirlo scored a brilliant free kick, didn't he?
I saw that today. Got Butte this afternoon. Cracking goal.
Right, okay, guys.
Ian,
look. Go on, Sam. Go on.
Yeah, it was just kind of whether it's something that relates to you the way it does to me. So was part of the reason that you put this together the fact that the lack of continuity and all the mistakes was like eating away at you, like really bugged you?
Totally messing with my brain, yes.
I found
when we go on to, there's mistakes all around in the United stories. I'm not even going to go into, well, I will now, but not completely go into the change of names of teams throughout the years. We've got three names for Leicester Villa, Alton Villa, and Arton Villa for a start. There'll always be Leicester Villa for me, even though Alton Villa was featured a lot in the Jimmy Grant stories. It's obviously the same site, so it's a case of what do you call them, which is apparently 20 miles away from Riverton. So just to place Riverton on the map there.
Yes, saw that today.
And if you do leave, the buses leave at noon to go to a club in North London, so not too bad. And it's also 3 hours from Southpool, so I think we've got the location quite well there.
It was just because obviously the champ continuity is pretty good. You get the odd little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it's off. But the one that's always got me is right from the very first issues. They play West Town Albion in the very first match.
Yeah.
And yet the following season, they play West Town Albion in the first division, even though the three teams that went up were Shefton, Barton, and United. It's like, how simple was that? And it's like that wasn't I think probably more than any other one has kind of really twisted my noodle, because it's like it's right there from the very, very first issue.
Yes, exactly. And really, they should have been replaced by Manchester City, who were apparently second in the league to Southpool.
Another one, yeah.
And they were no longer in the league that year. So maybe a headcanon should replace that with Manchester City.
Yeah. But compared to what the mess up in the Picture Story Monthlies, that's like inconsequential, isn't it? It's like, so if little things like that bug me, that Picture Story Monthly, if I'd have probably written them and thrown them at the wall by now, it would have driven me crazy.
It's probably good that you didn't then, Simo. But that's another section for you to come back and do, Ian, as well as the Norwegian books as well. So, because I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. He's not coming back.
He's not coming back. He's too funny. Yeah, I know.
There's only one idiot here.
I could do impressions as well, girl. So I'm not going to do.
Go on then.
I'll take over that. Actually, I can do more. It's more accents than impressions. My daughter's better at impressions than I am.
Well, she's free to come on, and you're fired. I'm only kidding. You were brilliant today. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it.
Smashing.
Brilliant stuff. Right. Okay, guys. Well, that's the show. Superb, absolutely superb stuff. We all enjoyed that, and hopefully listeners did, and the viewers as well. Before we close off, though, we are going to just talk a bit about some future shows, some future things we might have for coming along the line.
If I can interject, episode 3685, please, the return of Ian Golden. I can't wait until we get the feedback from the Melvster on the new comedian in town. I'm just too uncomfortable.
I thought you were going to talk about you doing the Secret Wars. You've been promising that for about 70 episodes, haven't you?
Yeah, but don't forget the film's coming out next year. So
you're tying it into that. You've spoken to the producers and they've said, look, they want you to do some of that for the promotion. I get it.
Yeah,
okay,
I picked the phone up.
Barry Norman.
Okay.
I picked the phone up and I got a response. So and I said to the producer,
he's bringing them all out now.
Here we go.
Right, guys, what have we got? Neil, I know you've got some exciting stuff planned, but anybody else got any ideas for future shows? No.
We could sit around and talk about comics.
Yeah.
Should we give that a go?
That's never going to work.
No.
Never gonna... What a crazy
thing.
Keep
it simple, Ridders. Don't go into so much detail.
Don't know. That's
I'll be Playmaker soon.
You're going to do the Playmaker. I know you've got that ready to go. Simo, you're obviously you're going to carry on doing the We Are United story.
I will hold off on that while we've got the United stuff being featured. Once we get a non-United episode, then I'll jump back in there just for keep everybody's fix of United going.
Brilliant stuff. I know I've been talking about this for ages. I've got the Comic Life of Mervyn Wallace to do. It's just quite a big one, really. So I'm just kind of waiting for the right time to do that. Jerry Holloway. Some stuff on hooliganism as well. I mean, just only when it was covered through Weather Rovers. I'm not going to give people hints and tips on hooliganism.
Lifestyle advice for the
advice.
daily hooligan.
Yeah.
Having said that, Matt, I mean, you're a supporter of the perfect club.
I say I'm not going to use my Millwall roots to give inside information.
Millwall.
Ian, you're not a Cardiff City supporter, are you?
I am.
What?
I am.
What did you say?
We've got two experts then.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah, definitely. We've got a song Millwall run from Cardiff.
Well, you know what? The show was going so well until then.
There has been. It's weird, that rivalry, Cardiff Millwall, but we'll go into that another time.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's purely off field.
What you find as a Millwall fan is that you have rivalries with virtually every team. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It might be something to do with
West Ham,
us.
Chelsea,
I don't know. I don't know.
It just confused me the first time I saw the half-time score from Cardiff Millwall, and it said 37-63. And then I realised that was how many people had been ejected from the stands.
Well, you say arrest then. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant.
I thought you were going to say that was the score.
Yeah. Well, no, it wouldn't be for the score. Trust me, not for Millwall. Bygone Berrigan, you've got a tease for us, haven't you, with some exciting news, potential exciting news.
Yeah, I was wondering what was on YouTube then when you said you've got a tease for me. I had to double check my camera, but yeah,
just a small feature.
I've been in touch with Graham Strachan of DC Thompson, and I've also now been in touch with a chap called Lindsay Martin, who was from DC Thompson, who's put me also in touch with Bill Graham, who was one of the champ editors who were
Martin
there.
Lindsay. It was Martin. It's Martin Lindsay.
Oh, I've got his name. Sorry, it's because I put it on. Sorry.
No, he's Korean. You got it right first time.
All right. Okay then.
It's because you're broadcasting from Chernobyl, Bygone.
That's right. I apologise now.
Who is it?
We can just edit this. Martin Lindsay from DC Thompson and Bill Graham, who was the champ editor, and we are in touch with them, and they're going to feature on a future podcast where we're going to ask them questions regarding obviously the Champ comics, and Victor comics, but also Football Picture Story Monthly, and I think that's going to be a really great podcast for you guys. So keep listening, and it'll be hopefully featured soon.
Yeah, I need to double check this. Neil. But I think Martin Lindsay was the name of a United player from the 1970s when they did a flashback.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if he wrote his name into it.
The European Cup run, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Real people in the storyline. Who'd have thought it?
I know it's I think I'm really excited about it, to be fair. I think it's going to be a really good.
Yeah, so fingers crossed for that. We're still kind of you're still kind of corresponding, and hopefully, so for listeners and viewers, watch out for that one. That'll
very
be
early days yet, but
one.
we're in negotiations. So
in negotiations, on price and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, fingers crossed that could be great.
That would be great. Yeah. So lots to look forward to. So anyway, look, that's the end of the show. We need to remind listeners of how they can get in touch with us and let us know what they thought of tonight's show, what they thought of Ian's presentation. So we have the social media channels.
I'm going to see that.
Oh, what's that? Simo's showing something on his screen, and it's
Martin Lindsay, I think.
Brilliant.
Going in for a tackle.
There you go.
There he is. There's the legend.
The perks of being a Football Picture Story Monthly editor. You can be.
I wonder if he based the likeness on it as well as his name.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's something we can ask him as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Superb. Thanks a lot, Simo. Nice one. Yeah, so Bygone. Facebook pages.
So we have got the Champ We Are United and Football Picture Story Monthly Fans, which is on Facebook. We've got Roy the Rovers Comic 40 Years On with the friend of the show, Ed Taylor's site. That's also on Facebook, which has got, in brackets, Melchester Rovers. We've also got Striker World, which features on Facebook. And we've got the Mighty World of British Comics group on Facebook as well.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much.
I know. He's pulling a face because he's got it right.
He's got it right. That's superb. Goal. Do you want to tell everybody about the forum where people can kind of still log on and have a look around?
Not really.
Okay.
No, yes. So this all really started, as we've all mentioned many times, a forum called champweareunited.proboard.com. We've got 55,000 posts on there. There's so much information. There's so much United verse, so much Melchester Rovers, Scorer. The list is endless, even non-footballing comics. It's a reference site now because the interaction takes place on Facebook, but you're welcome to join to source any information that you might want to use. So once again, champweareunited.proboards.com.
Thank you, Goal. Okay, and also we're on X and we're on Blue Sky. So on X, the handle is @champ_R. That's @champ_R, ARE. And on Blue Sky, we are @champcomics.bluesky.social. So you can check us out there as well. So that's the show. So let's go around and get everybody's final thoughts, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So first of all, our special guest, he'll be coming back on again. Don't worry, listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Ian,
Well,
final thoughts from you?
Just want to say thanks very much for letting me on here, guys. It's been a long time coming. I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be back. I think another thing I'll plan for the future is Doctor Who comic strips. I spoke about that with someone, so I might do that in the future as well.
I'm with you on that.
On that one. So thanks very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn, as they say in Wales.
Brilliant stuff. Simo, do you want to just translate that for us, or are you okay with
it? Unfortunately, my Welsh was not that good.
Okay,
it just means thanks very much.
Yeah, I know it did. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
The area I was living in Wales, I was probably close. I was much closer to Ridders, so I was more likely to pick up some Scouse than I was Welsh.
Yeah, I know a few people from Wrexham, so yeah, I can understand you on that one.
As a Doctor Who fan, I know you'll appreciate this, Ian. All I heard was the Valiard.
The Valiard?
Doctor Who.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I don't get the reference there. I heard about the Valiard.
Yeah, that's all I heard. That Welsh name that you said.
Oh, Diolch yn fawr iawn, I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only heard the Valiard. Got it. Okay, sorry.
It's fine. Me and Button Matt will edit that out. Not a problem.
Please.
Go.
Yeah. Just leaving it. No, just leaving a gap there.
Go.
Just leaving a gap there so it can be edited out. Edited. Oh, for Christ's sake!
We'll edit that bit out as well, Gul.
I know. Seriously, Ian. Thanks for joining in with the banter and Mickey taking and all of that. You fitted in just right. Thank you, and good night from me.
Good night from me.
Yes, Ridders.
Well, firstly, thanks Ian for coming on. That was brilliant. Great to have a load of We Are United chat and conversation about the story and stuff. So really good conversation starters, inspiration to read a few more of the old books. So yeah, brilliant. Really enjoyed the presentation too. Some good things to think about. I'll get a copy of that off you as well, and I'll actually use that as my reading list. Is this the goodbyes? Is it? Are we doing the goodbyes now? Oh, sorry. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope the We Are United stuff's gone down well, because good to have a bit of that on as well. And eat well. See you next time.
Simo.
Yes. Thanks to Ian for coming on. It's been a fantastic piece of work together there. It's completely blown my mind. I'm going to have to go for a lay down once this is all over, because my head's spinning. It's been another great show. Love it when there's United stuff on, so keep it coming.
Keep it coming.
See you next time.
And finally, Bygone.
I agree with what the other lads have said. I'm done again. My words are wrong. Have said. Yeah, and a great show. And as I say, I agree with Ridders. I'm going to go back and read some of mine now and try and put them in some linear order and read it as Ian's done tonight. That's it. But yeah, thanks. Really, thanks. Thank you again, Ian, for doing that today. It's been really good. Enjoy.
Yeah, so that's it, folks. That was episode 103. Yeah, join us for 104 coming very soon. So from us all, it's good night and goodbye.
Bye.
Hiya.
What? Hey.
Oh God, where did I stop recording?